Hi everyone, welcome to Wednesday. I hope you've had a nice week so far. I'm Becca, I'm from Team Brave, and we're working in collaboration with the Global Goals World Cup to deliver some Global Goals games. So it's education for anyone really that wants to access it. It's free, and the idea is that we're going to help people that are educating the next generation. So anyone working with kids, could be parents, could be teachers, coaches, anyone who's like directly working with kids, and we're just going to try and give some innovative and creative ideas so that we can enhance the delivery and inspire more kids to be active and also activist. So that's what we're doing. You could also, if you want to have a workout, you can also join in with the activities, or if you're an educator, maybe you prefer to take notes or just watch, whatever works for you. If you're a kinesthetic learner, maybe you want to join in. If you're more visual or audio, then just chill. I hope you enjoyed the session. We're coming to you from Chile, rural Chile, very, very rural Chile. So apologies if the internet signal's not great, but we are literally quite in the middle of nowhere. We have a volcano out there, and that's about it. So yeah, I hope you have a good session. Today we're focusing on goal number 8. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so if anyone has seen the Global Goals awesome balls, you'll have seen the cool logo for Global Goal 8 is like a kind of lightning bolt arrow, and this has inspired me to create the Harry Potter warm-up. I hope there's some Harry Potter fans out there, because it's going to be quite niche, so I hope J.K. Rowling is watching. Hi J.K., thanks for years of Harry Potter books and movies, brilliant. Yeah, my generation was definitely the Harry Potter generation growing up. So we're going to do a Harry Potter warm-up, wizards and witches and all that stuff. Then what we do is we follow the high five model, which I use to keep myself on track, and it's also helpful for kids to know the structure and know what's going to happen. So I recommend something consistent and regular. So we have an individual game, which kids can do on their own, or via Zoom, for example, if they're doing classes online. Last night I had an awesome session with a team from Mexico, so that was really cool. We did training. It was my first time to train with anyone else since 16th of March, so yeah, thanks very much to them. It was really fun, and yeah, really cool to actually train with people. Then we're going to do a group game, so if you are in a country lucky enough to now be seeing people, or if you've got friends or family in your house that you can train with, or do a group game, or if you're thinking of ideas for post-lockdown, then yeah, there's a group game. Or perhaps you're watching this in the future on repeat, and or lockdown has been lifted. Must be amazing. So hi people of the future, if you are watching this and you are not in lockdown, I hope you're enjoying your days of freedom. Physical challenge. That's something we do not only to strengthen our bodies and our minds, but also to help connect people across the world, to give ideas so that you can text your mates and say like, okay, plank challenge, how long can you hold the plank this week? Or little things that help to connect people across borders. I do quite a few with my friends of different things. We use the app Strava and to compare, so it makes you feel like you're training with people. And then finally we finish with an action for the goal, which is based a bit on Clara's sessions. So Clara is one of the amazing contributors to the Global Goals World Cup Clubhouse, and every week she does like a to-do list for the world, and she's very, very knowledgeable about little things that we can all do that will make a big impact, like a snowball effect. So we're going to base it a bit on Clara's tips and anything we can think of. I think that's basically the summary of what we're going to be doing today. I based today's research on some investigations I did on the website UN Women. Having a problem with the music here. It's a good song. Okay, sorry. So I use the website UN Women, so if you just Google UN Women and then Global Goal 8, then you'll see the resources I used in order to make the session plan. So I really recommend it. It was a good read. And yeah, UN Women, thanks for all the resources. I think we'll start with the warm-up just to get energised, because I so far have not done any sport today and it is already midday, so that means 0 sport in the morning has been done, so let's get moving. Okay, so for today's session I'm going to be using a training ladder. It's very common in invasion sports because it helps you with your speed, agility, quickness. So if you hear people talking about SAQs, instead of just nodding like, ah yeah, SAQ, I know that, it's speed, agility, quickness. I bet a lot of people don't actually know what it stands for. SAQ, speed, agility and quickness. I don't know why they have speed and quickness. It seems synonymous to me, but never mind. And if you don't have a ladder, you can use your kitchen tiles. This is what my mum does. Or you could use, like for us, we have this kind of fake wood. You could use that. Okay, or you can simply place socks on your yoga mat to replicate a ladder. Okay, the idea is that you're challenging your brain and your coordination. Okay, so anything that replicates a ladder. I'm actually going to use my ladder today, seeing as I have one. And yeah, I'll show you a few different warm-ups you can do with it. You might have seen it in previous sessions, but in case you haven't. What? Cameraman is pulling some faces, I don't know why. Let's get going. Okay. Today, excitingly, I know it's only exciting for me, excitingly we have a frisbee involved as well. Okay, so when you get to the end of the ladder, okay, like this, the frisbee means freestyle. Okay, so you've got to do something fun or cool. I mean, not necessarily cool, wrong word, but it could be like jump into it and maintain. Now, why are we doing this, you ask? Seeing as you ask, the frisbee is a chance for creativity, which kids will enjoy, and expression, like the arts, but also from a sports scientist point of view, which I am, it's injury prevention. So this bit here, we've warmed up the ankle joints, the articulating fluids flowing in the ankle, the synovial fluid, and then this bit, okay, that's when you're actually doing a bit of injury prevention, working on the ankle ligaments, their stability. Okay, good to know. Let's crack on. Okay, so we're going to go, first one, nice and easy, 1 foot in each of the spaces. Okay, check your biomechanics. Okay, when you're running, you do not run like this. Okay, I hope. The arm drive is what powers your leg drive. Cameraman is giving me, it's quite hard to understand. Okay? Ready? Okay, as with when we've done this kind of similar thing in plyometric session that we did when we did the water goal last week, try not to make any sound, okay? We want to not be elephants, we want to be like nice graceful gazelles. Okay? Ready? So you have the cushion. Okay. And hold. There we go. Again, watch your biomechanics. See if you can look up. So for me, I'm going to be looking out at the volcano. And hold. Great. Okay, normally a warm-up you want to do 15-20 minutes, but in order for you not to get bored watching me go up and down the ladder for the next 15 minutes of your life, which you won't get that time back, I am going to condense what I would do in 15 minutes into about 5. Okay, but just so you have an appreciation that when you're doing a warm-up, it needs to be 15 to 20 minutes for it to be effective. Okay, you can do different ways to get back to the top of the ladder. Okay, I'm just mixing up some of the ladder drills you might do. You see there, that wasn't a very good ending that I just did, because you see I lost balance, okay, because I was talking to you. Okay, so when you get here, maintain it, breathe, think like a yogi, okay, or a ballet dancer. Okay, you want to think, like, use this bit to stabilise. Is Ellen watching? Woohoo! Hi Ellen! Ellen, what an absolute legend. Most loyal supporter. Let's try and do some funky stuff in the frisbee now. I appreciate not many people have a frisbee for this purpose, but maybe you have something else. Lateral movement. Okay. Right, question to the watchers, the viewers. Why would I do lateral movement in the warm-up? Why don't I just do the same forwards movement? Anyone? Anyone? Correct! The correct answer is that in a football match, I'm not always running in straight lines. Potentially maybe American football, I guess there's a lot of straight lines. Or winger in rugby, straight, maybe a little bit. But football, anyway, when I play, is all over the place. Okay, especially if you're centre mid or something like that, it's going to be a lot of change of directions. So you need to replicate that in your warm-up. Can I just highlight one common error? When you're doing this lateral movement, it's not like this. You do not do this in a football match. Okay, so when you do a warm-up with kids, please make sure they're not doing this. They will never do that in a game, hopefully. Okay, so you want them to get low. Okay, think like a surfer, and it's like this. Okay, so check their biomechanics. Because if I'm defending, I'm often the defender, centre back or holding centre midfield. Okay, if I'm defending you, I'm going to get low so that I can change my stance easily. If I'm doing this, literally no reason to do that. Okay, low and stabilise. Think ballet dancer. Okay, arabesque. In gymnastics, I actually think I failed a grade for a terrible arabesque. Arabesque is this one. Okay, you can see why I failed. Okay, so your leg needs to be parallel to the ground. Okay, we're going backward. And extension. Okay. Hop in. Stabilise. Okay, if you have been a loyal watcher like Ellen, thank you Ellen, and her dog Jess, you'll know why we do lots of warming up on one feet. And the reason is, how often in the game of football or many other games, sports like basketball, netball, hockey, how often are you on one foot? The correct answer is a lot. Okay, so when you're running, when you're shooting, when you're jumping for a header, okay, if you're a goalie, a lot of time on one ankle, and that's why there's a lot of ankle injuries in sport. In football, our most common injury is the ACL, anterior cruciate ligament, and the reason is, there's many reasons. For example, in women's football, the wrong size ball. Please use the air soccer balls. They're smaller, lighter, and we can actually play amazing football with them. Okay, so other reasons for ACL injuries often is poor warm-ups, lack of preventative sport science. Okay, so really important for footballers and athletes to do a good warm-up and work on the called prehabilitation, so preventative. Okay. Anyway, I'm condensing that warm-up, so I would have carried on and done a lot of dynamic stretching, etc. But I'm going to condense it so that we're not here all day. Okay. So we've done the warm-up. Oh, sorry, I did say I was going to be Harry Potter style. Then I started telling you a lot of sports science. So if I will just do a couple to show you, but you can kind of invent it yourself with Harry Potter. So when you're going down the ladder, you could say, like, when the kids get to the frisbee, that's the sorting hat. Okay. If you've watched Harry Potter, all kids get sorted into 4 houses depending on their traits and attributes. So you could say, like, when a kid gets there, they do their balance, and then the coach is going to say Gryffindor or Slytherin or Ravenclaw or Hufflepuff. Okay, and the kids will probably find it quite cool that they get a bit of individual attention. They will not find it cool if you say Slytherin. Okay, do not say Slytherin unless you want tears. Okay, so or you could do, like, when they get to the thing, they have to do a spell like Expelliarmus. Okay, depending on how old you are, if you're 30 or roughly that age like me, then I would imagine know a few spells of Harry Potter. Okay, so get the kids doing spells or make up their own spells. Okay, and that will add a dimension, and from a neuroscience perspective, gets them using their cognitions as well as their body. Okay, so think of the ladder, and then when you get to the end, Expelliarmus or Avada Kedavra. Okay, I'm actually struggling with any more spells than that, but yeah, that's how I would adapt the warm-up to be Harry Potter-fied. Okay, right, moving on to our individual game. So today's topic of the global goals is decent work and economic growth, which I have to confess I had to look up today, hence the research to know what to talk about, because some of them are more self-explanatory, like life under the sea, but I had to look this one up. So, luckily for you guys, saved you the trouble of looking it up. So, I'm going to be focusing on the aspect of like more of a gender divide, but I'm sure there's many other focuses like racial divide or other ways of looking at the inequalities in decent work and economic growth. So on the UN Women website, they kind of go into more detail about the goal by saying by the year 2030, which by the way is not that far away. When I first started doing stuff for the global goals, I thought, wow, that's so far away, but now it's like in the next decade. So it's coming up. So the UN Women detail full productive employment for all men and women. So if you're not aware, that's men, that's women. Including young people and people with disabilities. So it's really important. So essentially inclusive work for everyone. And then protecting the labour rights of everybody. Makes common sense to me. Okay. Then there was a cool infographic on the page about the gender pay gap, which is shocking. So the current gender pay gap in the world is 23%. I've never, I don't think, been in a job where I've been paid less just because I'm a girl, but I imagine in some professions it's awful. So gender pay gap, I know for a fact from talking to female footballers, there's a massively staggering gender pay gap between the top flight female footballers and, as you can imagine, the top flight male footballers. Huge, monumentally big gender pay gap. I don't know why, and it's disgraceful, but that needs to change. So 23% now, so if we continue at the current trends of improving equality without looking in which year do you think we will achieve 0% gender pay gap if we continue at the rates? Anyone? Okay, the correct answer is 2086. That's a long time. Okay, so 2086, I will be, how old? 96. I'm literally going to be standing here as a granny, being like, remember that day in 2020 when I told you? Okay, so if we continue now at the current rate of development of equality, we are going to achieve the gender pay gap in 2086, when I'm literally probably a great grandma. Okay, so let's try and speed that up, shall we? Okay, so gender pay gaps. I'm not sure in which profession they are the worst. Probably people watching, if you are in a profession where it's affected, then probably feel very strongly about this. I know for a fact lots of my friends are pro footballers and they're girls, and yeah, it's very, very unfair. Like media coverage, salaries, access, opportunities is unbelievable. Okay. So yeah, if you want to know more about that, then talk to some of my friends and colleagues who also do the clubhouse sessions, because 2 or 3 of them are pro footballers, one's a pro coach, so I'm sure they can tell you all about it. So I'm going to crack on with the game. So we've got the individual and the group game. It's basically the same game, but it can be adapted to be either individual or working in a team. It's a bit like football tennis, but I've called it Mind the Gap. Okay, just to tie in with the gender pay gap, and it's if you haven't been to London, on the metro, so the tube, they always say mind the gap when you're getting on the train, so that's hence the name. So we're going to play Mind the Gap again. Now I hope every time you go to London and hear that, you're going to think of this game. Okay. If you want to, if you're working with young kids who especially love Harry Potter, you can continue this theme, and you could do like mind the cauldron, or mind the broomstick, anything like that. Mind the Quidditch pitch. Okay, if you're working with people who actually in fact hate Harry Potter, or have never heard of it, then I'd recommend maybe cutting out the Harry Potter when you go on to the next bit. Okay? So mind the gap. Going to need the cameraman's participation. Sorry. Okay. So you're going to divide your ladder in half, or you're going to create a gap. You could use, for example, a yoga mat. This could be a good gap. Okay? So you could put that down, and that will be your gap. Okay, I'm going to use a ladder. Okay, so due to the fact that my laptop is here and the glass, and it's not, and a few lights, I'm going to use my favourite squishy ball, which is an important part of kit. So underrated. Okay, so a squishy ball, preferably smiley one. All coaches should have. Okay. So it's basically like football, tennis. If you play that, or you maybe saw it in our Brave training when we did about first touch. So I'm going to play against Goose, and you can just use your hands. The idea is that to start with, it's basically football, tennis. If the ball lands in the gap like that, okay, then you would lose a point. So we're going to start with 3. I'm going to start with 3 lives. Okay, if one of us can't get it over, or it lands in the gap, we're going to lose a life. Understand? Intended? Okay. Okay, so I think I would have lost the life there because I kicked the ball and it went out of the court. Okay, but I still want to smash it. Okay, we're going to try one more time with this and see if it's too hard for us. So Goose would have lost a point there because the ball bounced before it went over the gap. Okay, we're upgrading at risk to laptops, jars, glasses and lights. Okay, so I'm down to 1 life. I tried to be skillful there, so in my mind I did like flick up, volley, but didn't work. Okay, so that was the practice. So Goose is 1-0 up. So Chile are winning 1-0 against Inglaterra. Okay, so all the time when you're playing this with kids, it will be quite easy for them to actually forget why they're playing it and just think, oh, a nice game of football tennis. They just regularly remind them, like, what is this gap representing? Okay, so if I was playing this with kids now, then just to reflect on it, I would say, okay, so what is this gap? And they might say, it's a ladder. And you say, okay, great. What is it representing? And then hopefully they would say, oh, the gender pay gap that we've just been talking about. And so you could ask them, like, why do you think there's a gender pay gap? And hopefully kids, being lovely that they are, would say, I don't know, there shouldn't be. And then you can discuss, okay, what could we do to facilitate there not being a gender pay gap, or not being a discrepancy between different races or different genders? What could we do to equal out the opportunities? And hopefully the kids will come up with some great ideas, because they normally do. Got great creativity and imagination. Okay, so we're going to play one more round. If you're on your own right now, you could play it bouncing against the wall. And so which, yeah, so for example here, I might kick the ball, it rebounds off, okay, and then I go again. And then you could say, like, if the ball lands in the beanbag, or in my office here, then you've lost a point. Okay, so it's possible to play on your own. Come on! The good thing with this one is quite competitive. If you've got kids who are feeling competitive, no! I'm just going to talk about a technical aspect of football. In this game, you can talk to them about adjusting their body. So you might have seen just then, the ball came in and I chose to take it on the volley. I could have adjusted my body and get the half volley. So you can just talk to them about that technical aspect of football. And you could refer them to the Brave training where we've done first touch and then first touch progression. So I think it would be episode 4 and then episode 8, if I'm right. So yeah, they're also in the archives. Okay, let's check ourselves. So fun Harry Potter warm-up. Remember the ladder with this frisbee and then doing random spells or being told whether you're Gryffindor, Hufflepuff or Ravenclaw or Slytherin if they're really annoying. Okay, individual and group game. That's going to be the game we did called Mind the Gap, based on the great London reminders when you're on the metro. Okay, and that's basically football tennis disguised as a different game, but instead of it being a net, it's an actual gap so that the ball could fall into it. The more advanced players you have, the greater the gap. So if you're playing with an elite team, then I would make this gap huge. So they have to really practice lofting the ball so they could watch our passing progression session. And then it's more of a challenge. You could also talk to them about chipping the ball over. This could also be adapted into a small-sided game. So the game is quite a common one in football. You have 3 teams. One team is, if you imagine, I could draw it later. Okay, so then one team is occupying the gap. The other 2 teams have to keep possession of the ball, so they're passing, and then they loft it over to the other team, whereas the middle team is defending, if that makes sense. I will, in this little space here, I'll draw it for you before I send the session plan off, and then you'll see that small-sided game in a more simple way. Physical challenge time. I know everyone's really excited by this. Okay, so we're going to be using the ladder. So it's going to be just keeping in with the theme. So if you're working with kids, you're going to say like, okay, it's now the Hogwarts challenge, so the Harry Potter one. If you're working with other people that don't like Harry Potter, then you're just going to do the ladder challenge. So it's going to be a race on the ladder. So what everyone needs to do is, because it's goal 8, you're going to set 8 squares on your ladder, or you're going to position socks, so there's 8 of them, 8 spaces, or use 8 kitchen tiles. Okay, and we're going to have a global competition right now. Okay, and the objective is, you're going to see how quickly you can do 8 times of the 8 spaces, which, according to my mathematics, is 64 spaces. Okay, plus the run round. Don't even think of doubling it. Okay, so it's 1, 2, 3, etc. Okay? Good luck to all nations competing. Do you know which nations are watching you? We have no idea who's watching. Great. Well, I imagine Denmark are watching, Estonia and England at the very least. So it's going to be, I'm going to represent Chile. So Chile against England, my mum, Denmark and Estonia. Bring it on. Okay? Goose would, well, I'll tell you when we're going to begin. So you're going to set out your 8 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if this happens and your ladder only has 7 spaces, who knew? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you're going to have to improvise. Improvisation. And you're going to bring back the loyal frisbee. Okay? So, everybody ready with their socks?
USA.
Station. USA! USA. Is that Marie? Is it Marie? Go on, Marie. Good luck. Okay, so we've got Chile, USA, Estonia, England, and Denmark. 5 nations competing to be the champion of the Global Goal 8 Space Challenge. Hope everyone's ready and warmed up. Okay, so I'm going to tell you when to go, which is giving you a head start, by the way. Very generous. Okay, we're going to start in 3, 2, 1, go! Okay, I'm just going 1 foot through. I've done 1, 2, fitness, not just watching while I reach VO2 max, sprinting down a ladder. I think that's 4. 5, 6, 7. You'll notice that I'm trying to do good biomechanics. Finish. Am I the champion?
I think so.
As you'll have seen in last week's session, hydration is very important. Okay, right now, 2 fingers into your throat. And you can use these 2 fingers to feel your pulse. And what you can do, if you want to measure your own progress in fitness, is take, when you just finish, 2 fingers and you count how many pulses you feel in 6 seconds. Okay? Then you're going to times that by 10, and that's going to give you how many pulses, how many times your heart contracted in 1 minute, so beats per minute, BPM. Okay? So that's what we measure it in. What you need to do is, if you're interested in this kind of stuff, you're going to measure that and then see how long it takes for your heart rate to return to resting level. Okay, so most people's resting level will be between 60 to 80 beats per minute. So you're going to see how quick, after the 8 space challenge for goal 8, you're going to see how quickly your heart rate is now recovering to the resting level. So then that will show you how fit you are, because how quickly you recover. Okay? So enjoy that. I feel more or less at the resting heart rate again. A little bit elevated from excitement. Okay. So we've done our fun warm-up, Harry Potter, spells and stuff. Individual and group game was the Mind the Gap. If you're in a group, same thing, but obviously in teams, or swapping, so like taking it in turns, but you can easily do this in a group. If you're doing it with kids on Zoom, you might have to tell them to do it with their sibling or against a wall. Then physical challenge was the 8 space ladder challenge. So 8 spaces, 8 times. Okay, 64 steps. Then action for the goal. Okay, so we need to think of stuff that we can all do to contribute towards the global goal, decent work and economic growth. So, first thing I think we can all do is learn a bit more about the gender pay gap. Because some people, I am in the world of women's football, being a footballer and a coach, so I'm quite aware of the gender pay gap, but I think some people just don't know. So if you get time today, maybe type in average salary for a female footballer, get the figure. Average salary for a male footballer, get the figure. Funny. Then, I can't believe the cameraman just tried to nutmeg me. Then you want to find the difference, okay? It's going to be huge. For example, if we think of Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, any of the big players, I'm sure they're earning a comfortable amount, maybe. I would suggest they are, with all the sponsorship deals. Then if you think of the greatest female footballers at the moment, there's so many of them, how much are they earning? It's hugely different, okay? So this, you can also apply this to not just gender, but race. Race is very topical at the moment and this week, so I'm sure similar things apply. So if you Google like different ethnic groups, for example, the salary of this ethnic group lawyer, the salary of this ethnic group lawyer, see if there's a difference. There shouldn't be a difference, obviously. Okay, so we want to close the, I know from the UN Women that the gender pay gap is 23%. I haven't done the research yet of the racial pay gaps, but I imagine it's quite large. So let's try and look into that. So first one is research. Cameraman is yawning away. Really glad he's captivated by this presentation on decent work and economic growth. Then second goal for decent work and economic growth, think about what you personally could do to help people. Like it could be like you help someone you know who's got disabilities with their CV, their resume, or you could help like a younger person who's just starting out in their career, like the 13, 14, 15-year-olds, help them with some career advice or some work experience. You could, there's a really, really cool organisation in the UK called Sported. Shout out to Sported if you're watching. And they mentor me and a lot of other small charitable organisations and non-profits and small groups and teams. And what they can offer is really good because they put us in touch with mentors who are like experienced business people or people who've worked in marketing or really important fields that we don't know about. For example, I'm terrible at finance, so that's a really cool thing. You could volunteer if you're in the UK, especially, to be a Sported mentor. So you just email Sported and say, I've got expertise, I'd like to help smaller organisations like the Cornwall Hockey Club or the West of Scotland Regional Netball Team, and then you can help them with some tips and things. Like you might know how to make a website or how to do a business plan. So those kind of things. If you are a great business person watching or a great lawyer, then you could do a lot to help other people. I think that's 3 things. So unless there's any other suggestions from the assembled throng, then I think we've covered that. Oh, and also watch Clara. Always watch Clara's sessions. They're really helpful and they just kind of tie in quite well. Also just watch all the girls. Dee does amazing body weight exercises with the water bottles, which everyone hopefully has access to some bottles to do a workout. She does some African dance on a Friday, which is exciting. Ella and Babette do really cool professional football training. Jackie is a professional coach and she offers training and 5-a-side tactics and techniques. So there's loads of expertise out there. There's some great talks. So it's definitely a resource that you should be using. Especially in quarantena and quarantine, we've got a lot more time, or some of us. So I will just add the game to this session plan and add a few more bits of detail from my research. And apart from that, I hope you have a lovely Wednesday, the hump day. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and I will see you on Friday, where we'll be looking at global goal number 9 and diving into that and loads of games for that. Okay, thanks very much for coming and joining today. Hope you've enjoyed it, and apologies to Estonia, England, Denmark, States for not getting on the podium in the 8-space ladder challenge, which was won by Chile. Okay, thank you, bye.